Burning Man is a really fascinating cultural experiment, and it is amazing that it attracts like the best and the brightest now from around the world.
Yeah.
From technical geniuses to financial geniuses to CEOs. I think it remains an important movement. More festivals like Burning Man now happening in different countries around the world. It really gives people a taste of creative liberation, and hopefully provides important seeds for what our future society could be like. I mean, when I wrote Breaking Open the Head, at that point there wasn't any human studies going on. Maybe there was the one DMT study going on, but since the 60s to the late 90s, nobody could look at the value of psychedelics in human experiment. And now there's tremendous accelerated learning going on. So, like for instance, MDMA is in phase 3 clinical trials to be used as a treatment in therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's having more than a 60% cure rate of veterans from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars who have treatment-averse forms of PTSD. So their lives have basically been ruined, and nothing's worked for them. And 3 sessions of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy, and they have their lives back. There's been studies going on with Johns Hopkins of giving psilocybin to just normal people who've never had a psychedelic and charting long-term positive benefits, their worldview and their life experience and so on. Psilocybin for terminally ill cancer patients to ease end-of-life anxiety and give them a different perspective in the dying process. Imperial College of London is doing these studies on brain scans of people on high-dose LSD and other substances, and they're showing how the whole brain, different areas of the brain that are normally dormant are suddenly very active and also interconnecting, which suggests that it could have great benefits, as we've heard anecdotally, for creative problem-solving, for innovative thinking, new ways of looking at things, new ideas, and a lot of people are now experimenting with low-dose psychedelics in microdosing, even for professional or creative goals. So there's a very robust movement. And then in terms of the sacramental use, there was a religion called União de Vegetales, which uses ayahuasca as its sacrament. It's a religion from Brazil that mixes mestizo and indigenous elements, Christian and Indian elements, as does the Santo Daime. And they won a Supreme Court case in the U.S., I think in 2003 or 4, 6, I can't remember exactly, that allowed them to use their tea as a sacrament. And based on that, the precedent for that was the Native American Church, which almost had federal protection of the peyote taken away from them by the Supreme Court. And then because of that, the Santo Daime also won a big federal case in Oregon. So now ayahuasca has a lot of religious protection, and it's in the U.S. it doesn't seem to be really being prosecuted at this point, despite containing DMT, which is a Schedule I substance. But however, maybe because the naturally occurring substance doesn't fall under the Schedule I drug laws. So we have the sacramental side of it, we have the medicinal side of it, and we have the creative and hedonistic side of it. And all of them are, we're learning more and more about the values in all areas. And there doesn't seem to be, although I know in England they just passed this insane law that basically made it all psychoactive substances totally illegal, except for a couple, including poppers, which maybe the old, the old fogies like to take, So big evolution happening. It's happening on a very big level right now. If you read the 2012 book, I also look at things through this, prophetic idea that maybe what's happening is actually an evolution or transmutation of human consciousness that does require a series of crises for us to not only deal with the material aspects, but also with the psychic and supernatural aspects, which I also take very seriously. because my own experiences have made it clear to me that we possess tremendous psychic abilities that are latent.
Yes.
You know, I really like the work of somebody like Dean Radin, who talks about how maybe we're at a place in our discovery of psychic phenomena similar to where we were around electricity at the end of the 18th century, where we had discovered that this power exists, that it can be potentially channeled and made use of. We don't really know yet what to do with it. I think that we're beginning to have the same, like so many people that I know are having telepathic, synchronistic, telekinetic even. I mean, just, more and more evidence that we have this these other capacities, and that, maybe that'll be part of what changes as we go through this kind of birthing canal. Meanwhile, we're still losing the rainforest at a very quick rate. Plus, we're now seeing forest fires all over the world, which, California, I think Europe is having some right now, but the California,
in Portugal,
millions and millions of acres. So that's carbon sinks that then release their carbon in the atmosphere, and potentially it's part of this sort of positive feedback loop as the warming accelerates. So I find it definitely very, very, very concerning, and it's very unfortunate that we're, because of our growth imperative that's built into the capitalist model, we can't stop tearing apart these forests, which really, shelter the diversity of life and provide, 20% of the oxygen that we breathe. I mean, we're definitely seeing some signs that the whole ecological thing has really tipped over at this point. That are really, October until maybe yesterday, it's been about 10 degrees or 15 degrees warmer than usual in New York. It's basically like summer, it was like midsummer through most of October here. While we can see, what's happening all around the world with these, fires and everything. I mean,
it's tough getting the message out there. Is that you also address this quite a lot, and when talking about the media, just how difficult it is to, even with something like Reality Sandwich and Evolver, is to kind of keep that going. And and you've got these wonderful magazines like Yes, and there's Positive News in the UK and so on. It is a struggle. It is a struggle to kind of get a positive message out there, isn't it? And for everybody to be paid as journalists and so on, and get advertising and so on. It's quite a challenge.
Well, I mean, we're in a military, industrial, corporate entertainment complex, and the whole thing is built on planned obsolescence, conspicuous consumption, destructive products that need to be sold to people that feed on the lower instincts. So like Vice, for instance, although they've been doing some very good reporting, the main tone is still very cynical, kind of nihilistic, and can make people feel very depressed. And in a way that supports, Philip Morris and Coca-Cola, short-term self-destructive gratifications. So I think there's a subconscious way that people in the mainstream media have all capitulated to, this very cynical worldview, and they're not really allowing other ideas or messages to get through the filter. And then, unfortunately, I don't think we have a good enough counter media. I mean, Yes is a little small magazine that has some nice essays, but I think media is a huge, as I discussed in the book, a huge battleground. It's like we have an information war happening.
Yeah. And
right now the right wing seems to be winning it in certain respects.
Because in a way, Facebook's become a bit of a magazine. In a way, hasn't it? Because everybody is sort of doing their likes and posting their own, the articles which they've seen recently. It almost becomes a magazine in itself.
Well, I mean, their argument is that it's a neutral platform.
Yeah.
That's designed so that everybody can make use of it, as they see fit.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is that really is, not the case. Partially just because there's no such thing as neutrality, because there's no such thing as objectivity.
Yeah.
So how Facebook formats its information what really also determines what people find to be important. For instance, there's no voting functionality. Like we started a group with Evolver, the company that I had, and now there's like over 3 million people on the group. But it's not like we can say to everybody on the Evolver group, now that we have 3 million of us all together, do we want to boycott Monsanto, or do we all agree to stop using single-use plastic bags? So Facebook is kind of teasing us with the implications of a truly democratized media infrastructure that allows everybody to communicate in a swarm, but it's also denying the political opportunity of how we could make use of such a tool.
And you approached, was it Facebook? Sorry, I can't remember whether it was Facebook or Google, didn't you?
We did a conference. We did a mini conference at Facebook around ecological issues, and kind of failed to have the impact that I hoped to have. But I was thinking that why couldn't Facebook on the front of every page have a box that tells people that we're in an ecological emergency. Yeah. And that we have to learn about what's happening and then work together. But they're very far from that. I don't know if you saw Zuckerberg just did like a virtual reality tour of Puerto Rico. It's kind of insane.
Yeah. What next for you, Daniel? What are you working on? What are you excited by?
Well, actually, writing sort of a short book on ayahuasca, kind of. Introduction maybe for the next generation of people who are starting to explore it or wanting to explore it. Sounds great, Charles.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Thanks. You too. Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.